So now that we have our project prepared, we can go ahead and close this plugins window after the client is restarted. And we'll start working on our folder structure. So down here in the content browser, you can click this icon on the left to open up your Explorer and click on content to go up to the main root folder of your project. Right click over here and click new folder. We'll call this new folder audio visuals. In there, we'll create a folder called assets and another one called blueprints. In the folder assets, we'll create two more folders called audio and materials. And then if we go to the blueprints folder over here in your Explorer, we can create another folder named actors and two more folders within there named shapes and visualizers. Now we're going to import the audio files. Remember, if you want to use your own audio files, we've also provided a link to an audio conversion website that allow you to convert files from whatever they are to a WAV file format. But for now, we're just going to use the three that we have provided here. Just click and drag your three audio files into the audio folder here that we've created in our assets folder. And the first thing that we're going to do is double click on them, search up here in the top for loop, and enable looping on all of them. There. Now we're going to create a simple sphere in our blueprints, actors, and shapes folder. To create a sphere actor, right click in the background here, just like creating a folder, and click blueprint class. Then in the list of common classes, you'll find actor. Go ahead and click on that. Name this actor A for actor in short, and then underscore sphere. Right off, I'm going to go ahead and add a new scene and get rid of that visible one. Name it root and replace the original. And then I'm going to add a static mesh. You can add components by clicking the green add component button up here in the top left corner. And then search for static mesh for the static mesh. Make sure you don't click the top one here that automatically is highlighted. Go ahead and click the one down here that only says static mesh. Name it SM underscore for static mesh in short, and then sphere. If you click on your new static mesh, you can go over here in the details pane and select the mesh that you want it to display. In the search, type sphere and click the material sphere. Go ahead and click compile and save. Always click compile and save after almost every change you do. I won't say this every time because I do it almost after every single thing that I do out of habit, but make sure that you do remember compile and save. Now we're going to create our materials. Click on our materials folder and start with our master material. To create a material, we'll do the same thing as the past two things we've created. Right click and click material up here. If you don't see it in Create a Basic Asset, you can also find it down in here, in Materials and Textures, and then right here at the third one. We'll name this one M underscore for material, and then master. The reason why we name this one master is because we'll create material instances based off of this master material. The material instances can update quickly and reflect quickly on everything in the level, where the master materials kind of have to be compiled and take a little bit more time in between changes. We'll see that later. Double click on your new material. The first thing we're going to do is right click on your base color here and promote to parameter. Change this parameter name to color. If you missed naming it when you first created it, you can also name it down here. New color. Originally param and back to color. Do the same thing for metallic, specular, and roughness. Then drag them out and organize them so that they're nice and neat. We can keep the original names on these three. Then you're going to want to right click in the background and type multiply. Drag the right side, the output node, into emissive color. The node output, sorry. Right click on B and promote to parameter and call it emissive multiplier. And then drag color into the multiply. Click on your color and then click on the default value. It's always easier to crank this all the way up and your alpha so that you don't have to do it later. If you want it to default at white, just put your RGBs all the way up. Now we have our master material. We're going to create two material instances based off this master material. To do that, right click on your master material, and at the top should be create material instance. Name your first material instance to MI underscore, again in short for material instance, and then plastic. Right click on your master material again and create another one called MI underscore emissive. Double click on your MI plastic. You can see that there's really nothing much to this one right now, and it's just a very much a flat white color. But if we want to change it to look plastic, we can just give it a little bit of a specular. And a tiny bit of roughness. I'm going to go ahead and put 0.1. And I want to give it a little bit of a color to show that it's kind of more. There. We'll save that. And then we're going to go into MI emissive. I'm going to give it a red color. All the way red and nothing else. And then I'm going to check the emissive multiplier and move it up. Scroll out to give yourself a little bit more of a view here. Left click to pan around, right click to zoom or scroll. Move it up, and you'll see that it slowly starts to become brighter and brighter. It can become extremely bright. I like to keep it at 100. It gives it a nice soft glow. So now that we have our materials made, we can go ahead back into our actor shapes and into our sphere. Click on your sphere in the components list and change your material color to, oh, wrong one. Change your material to either your new plastic or emissive. I'm going to start with plastic. Compile and save. Now in the construction script, what we can do is click on your static mesh, drag it into the grid, and then on this output node, drag that out and say set material vector parameter. There. Now if you drag off of your parameter value, you can type linear color and click this conversion. Then right click on the input node and promote to variable, naming it color. Your new variable should show up over here on the left in your My Blueprints list. If you click the eyeball, it should now be a visible setting for every sphere you put into your environment. We'll go ahead and change our default color here as well to red for the full alpha. Oh, I forgot to put in the parameter name here that we have. So if you look into our master, the color here, the parameter name is color. You can copy that or type it in to this parameter name here and hit compile and save. There. So when we change our color, it'll change the color in our material that's on our static mesh. And when we drag in multiple spheres, they can all also have their own colors. Now we can start on our simple visualizer. To do that, we'll click on our visualizers folder, right click and create a new actor blueprint again. Name it A, simple visualizer. Double click. I always compile and save. In this one I'm going to keep the default scene root because there's no static meshes that come default with the visualizer to know where it's at in your 3D world. To show you what I mean, I'll drag it in now. Without this, we wouldn't know exactly where anything was here as our simple visualizer to move it around and utilize it in the world. The only way we'd be able to find it is within our outline here, which can get really full really quick. Found it. The first thing I'm going to do is click Add Component and add an audio component. I'm going to click on my audio component and change the sound to my song of choice. I'll pick Ocean. Compile and save again. In the event graph, I'm going to drag in audio by begin play, and then drag out of the output node in audio and type play. Line that up and drag the execution line over. Now the song will play in the beginning. We can go ahead and test that out now. Yep, works. Now we can begin to visualize our audio information. To do the simple visualization, click on Audio and scroll all the way down to find the events, or you can click over here in our blueprints list in the components list and click on Audio, and you'll see them much quicker. The one that we want to use is the on audio single envelope value. If you click that, it'll put it directly into your event graph. The first thing we're going to do is drag out of our execution line and type get all actors of class. And in the class, we'll select our actor sphere. Now we'll drag out from the out actors and type each to bring up a for each loop. Drag your execution line into that. And what this allows us to do is to affect every actor in our scene that is the sphere in any moment. And for every actor, we want to set relative scale 3D for our SM sphere. Drag the execution line in. And right here is where we'll set the new scale. What we want to do is set the new scale relative to the value that's coming in on the single envelope. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag out of the envelope and type multiply. Click float times float and right click on this B parameter and hit promote variable. Name that variable to scale multiplier. If you click on the variable over here or within your graph, you can set the default value to 5. Then what we're going to want to do is drag that directly into the new scale and it'll automatically convert. At first this is going to make the ball scale very small, almost too small. We'll go ahead and see that first. The ball's scaling to everything and we really want it to only scale with the kick. So what we'll do is set a max, which is really like a minimum, and drag that into this one here. And what we'll put in the max is 1. Compile and save. Review that again. Perfect. Go back in your simple visualizer. The last thing I want to do here is make these balls a little bit more fun and interactive than some floating spheres. To do that, go into your sphere actor. It should already be open. If you have it closed, you can go ahead and go back into your shape actors folder and open it from there. Click on your SM sphere in your component list, and then in physics, click simulate physics. Compile and save, and run it again. Remember, you can play by hitting the play button up in the toolbar here. Perfect. Way more interactive. And remember, you can also use your emissive materials on these spheres. To change them, just click on your sphere, click on your material, and change it to MI emissive. Their colors should still stay the same. Perfect. And that's a simple way to visualize audio information through a single envelope.